Nach tagelanger Fahrt ist die amerikanische Küste erreicht. Das Boot steht dicht vor New York.
This is fabulous 1942 footage of a German U-boat situated just off the coast of Manhattan. This stock footage fits in well with the material we'll be looking at today, which includes the next edition of the publication Die Wehrmacht, a nice film diary of a U-boat attack on a convoy in the Atlantic, the introduction of a 1942 naval identification manual, and then an associated training film for naval vessel identification. But first, if you are interested in seeing more introductions of this kind of primary source historical material, please subscribe and hit that like button. And now, let's take a look at that beautiful Manhattan nightscape as it was seen by the German crew in 1942. This is the Die Wehrmacht Ausgabe edition number 4 from 1942, which was released on February 18th. It shows a German flak crew in front of an artillery piece, and the caption states that they're fighting by minus 30 degrees Celsius on the Eastern Front. The first article talks about how America was not only surprised by the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, but also by the ferocity of the German U-boat attacks in the Atlantic. It states that 4 American ships had been sunk right off the coast of New York. This here shows how one of these engagements took place. Each of the steps has the time that it happened, and also at the end it shows how the ship was destroyed. This is some footage from a 1942 German film which shows how the U-boat Rudeltaktic, known in English as Wolfpack tactic, was expected to work. Here's a cartoon representation of a convoy. The U-boat to the left reports the location of the convoy to headquarters. It is said to be located in quadrant C12. Gross Admiral Dönitz sends other U-boats to the location. The U-boat commanders receive their new orders. They change their direction and go full speed ahead to the new destination. The U-boat, which has been reporting back to headquarters, is located by a destroyer. They do everything they can to evade the enemy. The destroyer fires on the U-boat and the shells land dangerously close. The U-boat changes direction, trying to get away. Alarm is sounded to the crew. The U-boat needs to dive. The crash dive is sudden, and the sub dives deep. The destroyer goes over the submerged U-boat and drops depth charges. In the meantime, the first 2 subs that were sent for arrive to the scene. With the listening equipment, the location of the destroyer is carefully followed. The destroyer is located directly above the U-boat. The convoy tries to escape the increasing danger by making sharp and sudden changes of direction. The destroyer remains hot on the tail of the original U-boat. The boats that were called in remain stubbornly attacking the convoy. The outline of the enemy ships can be easily seen through the fog. After days of patiently waiting, the U-boats are able to position themselves in front of the convoy. To the right, additional subs can be seen that have caught up and joined the fight. The two lead subs are now in good firing positions. They submerge for the attack. In a submerged attack, multiple torpedoes are fired at the lead target ships. The enemy destroyers blanket the area with depth charges that they suspect the U-boats to be in. Finally, at dusk, the additional subs that arrived have also been able to position themselves in advantageous firing positions. Due to a mechanical issue, one of these subs is forced to break off their attack. In this surface night attack, multiple enemy ships have been successfully sunk by our torpedoes. The rest of the convoy scatters in all directions. The subs have all fired their torpedoes and the tubes need to be reloaded. The torpedo tubes are opened, and the U-boats are ready to fire again.
Schuss! Torpedo läuft!
The shot is timed with a stopwatch.
Treffer!
Tube 2 is ready for firing.
Schuss! Wieder Treffer!
The destroyers look for the subs with spotlights and illumination shells. To the right, one of the remaining tankers tries to escape to the north. It runs into the U-boat that had remained behind. During the fighting, this sub had been able to repair the mechanical issue it had. With a quick artillery barrage, the tanker is set afire and then sunk. This This reference book was produced during the war by the Germans and given to their sailors. It's used for identification. It provides information and photographs, diagrams about all the different countries' naval vessels so that they could make sure that they were sinking enemy vessels and not Allied ones. It talks about the tonnage, it talks about the speed, the armament that they might have had. At the back of the book there are photographs of the different flags, and it's basically used as training material, but sailors often kept these while they were on active duty. It's an interesting series. They were made for each of the years during the war.
Summers Klasse, ähnlich die Sims Klasse, sind ein Schornsteinzerstörer.
This is footage from a German 1942 training film for cadets of the Kriegsmarine, or Navy. It shows the identifying characteristics of the different types of US light cruisers and destroyers. This training material would be of special importance to future U-boat crewmen because it focuses on the adversaries they would likely be up against. Interesting is the use of cartoon representations which are rotated and so give the students a look at the vessels from different angles. This training film has a runtime of 16 minutes and 48 seconds and is original in the German language.